Guilty on all counts. The gavel came down like a thunderclap in my chest, you know? I was 68, standing at the defendant's table, hands shaking so hard I thought the whole courthouse could hear the wood rattle. Life in prison. No parole. The judge's words just kept echoing as if he was pounding every door shut. I remember thinking, that's it. No more sunshine. No more puttering in the garden. No more sitting on my porch and watching the world go by. I barely even heard my own lawyer shouting about injustice. Behind me, Mrs. Patterson from next door was sobbing. The prosecutor, some sharp-jawed up-and-comer, already had his bag zipped up and ready to go. I'd just been convicted for murder, fraud, and money laundering, and 12 strangers on a jury decided a poor old lady like me could do all that. I heard them say the evidence was overwhelming. My fingerprints on a knife, mysterious money in my account, some blurry security tape. All fake. All so perfectly crafted, I almost wanted to congratulate whoever did it. And when the bailiff came for my wrists, my mind spun back 25 years to a night 3 scared boys showed up at my door. Back before I ever knew how complicated love could get. Back then, poor meant you were free, you know? Kindness was just what you did. But the bailiff's voice was gentle, almost apologetic, as if even he didn't believe I was some cold-blooded killer. I barely had time to stand before a voice thundered from the back of the courtroom. Wait. Head swiveled, the room's air changed. 3 men came striding down the aisle, one in a sharp suit, one with silver hair and tired eyes, and the youngest with a calm that could cut glass. I squinted through my tears, and when the first one said, "We're her sons. We have evidence," I nearly lost my knees again. Danny, Michael, Timmy, my boys, all grown up and standing there in front of God, and everybody. Danny's voice had a tremor, but only I noticed. "She's our mother in every way that matters, Your Honor," he said, and Michael pulled out a folder thick as a phone book, full of papers that could change everything. The judge, a man I'd only seen frowning, leaned in. 30 years on the bench, and he'd never seen anything like this, you could tell. The prosecutor sputtered, "This is highly irregular." But my boys, my scared, skinny boys from so long ago, now a trauma surgeon, a CEO, and a civil rights attorney, stood their ground, telling everyone that I was being framed, and the real killer was in the room right now. You want to know what it feels like to see your kids become the kind of men who fight for you? Like drowning in the best possible way. My heart hurt from how proud I was. Timmy, now Timothy, said, "What we found will shock this court. The real killer is sitting here right now." Michael, ever the surgeon, laid out video evidence, bank records, witness statements, the works. The judge gave Danny 10 minutes to convince him to halt my sentencing. 10 minutes to save my life. But even as Danny started, my eyes were drawn to the back of the room, where someone lurked, someone I thought was long dead, someone who'd started this nightmare a quarter-century ago. The past, it turns out, doesn't stay buried. It waits. Let me back up a sec. 25 years ago, it's 2:47 a.m., and 3 boys, white, not from around my neighborhood, show up on my porch, soaked and shaking, the oldest bleeding. They had no one. I should have shut the door. Instead, I opened it, made hot chocolate, and learned their story bit by bit. Parents gone, cousin Eddie turned guardian turned monster. A work that made my blood run cold. The oldest, Danny, had the kind of haunted look only a kid who's seen too much gets. That I took them in, made them promise not to leave, promised myself I'd keep them safe. It was never that simple. 3 days later, Eddie Costanos himself showed up, slick, ice cold, dangerous. He called the boys assets, offered me $25,000 to hand them over. I tore the envelope in half and told him to get out. He said, "I always collect what's mine." I believed him. 5 years went by. The boys became my world. I graduated college at 48. Danny headed to Northwestern. Mike talked about med school. Timmy built computers from junk. I was proud, but always looking over my shoulder. One day the phone rang. It was Eddie. He knew where we were, what we'd done. Said he'd been protecting his interests, the money, the inheritance, the power. He threatened to ruin me and take the boys back unless I convinced them to return to him. It was the kind of call that makes your soul want to crawl out your ears. But we stood together. We decided, as a family, that we wouldn't back down, wouldn't let him win. But then a new player called, a young girl named Sarah, desperate. Her little brother Michael held by Eddie as a trade for my Mike. It was a setup, a trap, but you can't ignore a kid in trouble, not when you've been that kid. We went to Pier 47 at midnight. The rain came down sideways. The pier stank of old dreams and new dangers. Eddie was there, of course, with muscle, with Michael Chun, with an ultimatum. Give up my boys, or he'd kill the child. He'd been draining their inheritance for years, setting me up with false records, planting evidence. He planned it all, 5 years of safety, just to yank it away and leave me with nothing but a criminal record. Then Sarah, who'd followed us, surprised everyone. She swung a crowbar. Chaos erupted. And in the melee, I got shot protecting the kids as I bled out. I shoved 3 goodbye letters into Danny's hands, made the boys promise to run, to live, to help others. I watched them disappear into the night, the sirens growing louder, knowing Eddie would spin the whole thing to the cops, make me the villain, him the victim. 3 boys vanish without a trace. And so began my 25 years of waiting for justice, for my boys to be strong enough to come home. The world kept spinning. Eddie, or the man who claimed to be Eddie, went on pulling strings, making sure I'd rot in prison. My boys became men. Danny became Daniel Rodriguez, civil rights bulldog. Mike became Dr. Chun, saving lives. Timmy went by Smith, a millionaire tech genius. But all of us lived with ghosts. One day, 15 years after the pier, I wrote them each a letter. Told them Eddie was getting out. Warned them to be careful. Told them I loved them forever. But the past? It bites. A body turns up. Eddie's, supposedly murdered, and they arrest me for orchestrating it from behind bars. Only, the man who died wasn't the one who'd visited me 3 days before, making threats. The real Eddie, I realized, had been dead for years, replaced by a man even colder, someone who'd built a 25-year revenge just to ruin every one of my boys, men now, reunited. They dug, they hacked, they lawyered up. They found the truth. The one who framed me was a man who'd once worked for Eddie, someone who'd manipulated us all, used love as a weapon, believed that real strength meant breaking people for sport. In the end, it all came down to a standoff at the same pier, 25 years to the day. Our tormentor revealed he'd been grooming us all along, not for kindness, but for the perfect trap. He gave us a choice, kill him or let more innocent people die. But my boys remembered what I taught them. They found another way, using every scrap of love, every lesson, every connection they had. With Sarah's help, with the law finally on our side, with a little luck and a lot of pain, they brought the whole rotten empire crashing down. In the final moments, with the police swarming, the monster handcuffed and hissing threats, and my name finally cleared, my boys came to me. All grown up, the world finally seeing the truth. I was free, but more than that, I was vindicated. So, here's the kicker. Do you think justice really won? Or did we just survive the latest round? Some say a happy ending's when everyone gets what they deserve. Me? I say it's when you finally get to breathe again, even if just for a moment. The story isn't over. Some scars never heal. Some monsters are patient. Some debts never get paid in full. But for now, we get to live. And sometimes, that's all you can ask for. Now, tell me, what do you think? Was I right to fight? Should family mean forgiveness? Or are there some sins that can never be washed away? Drop your thoughts below, because I promise, this story's got more sides than you think.